to agree with Ryan a little bit. Before I got into the whole craze of Ash and the Evil Dead franchise and everything, I remember watching the Evil Dead. I think it was the very first one, and it struck me as a slightly more dated than it was serious film, and I think the first one was kind of done serious.
Yeah, it's just extremely. It was like a
but there was like the stop motion, and like the sort of plasticine, sort of like real life, no CGI whatsoever kind of take on the film. And the fact that a tree rapes a woman and shit like that, it's pretty f***ed up. Do you know what I mean? And I took it.
It got banned in England. Margaret Thatcher banned it, but then I believe it was Stephen King gave it a glowing review, so it became like a cult phenomenon, and then took off, and then it was not banned.
Maggie, man.
I mean, just right here. So I'll just put a little thing on the screen as a subject header of Evil Dead and Ash. Because I think we've started down that rabbit hole, and it is Halloween. So
pressure, man.
No, but it's
The new
cool because
series,
it's something that I want to talk about as well, because I've just finished season 2 of Ash versus Evil Dead. As I say, I thought it was some dated thing. When was the first film dropped? It was like 80s.
Yeah, but it's like 31 years ago or something now, right?
So
I've never heard of this series before.
So it's like 87, 88, 1988. Evil Dead drops. And it's like it's kind of like the original Cabin in the Woods sort of
Never
like
seen that either.
vibe. But you know, like the
know the
idea
concept
of
of
like
it, yeah,
kids going to a cabin in the woods
Yeah.
and shit going off, and like it's been done
They say loads of stuff as well.
countless times.
The cabin in a lot of things, like a lot of Easter eggs or Evil Dead Easter eggs. In the last episode of The Walking Dead, there's a Necronomicon, and it's supposed to be the cabin, but the cabin don't look the same, but inside it's set up similarly, but there is a Necronomicon in the background. So Evil Dead has got like such a huge following.
Yeah,
and I'm just double checking the year now, 1981.
No, that's much
The
older.
Evil Dead came out, yeah.
Yeah. So 81 it came out. Then like, as he says, it got banned by Maggie Thatcher, this, that and the other eventually. Like, bear in mind, it's well pre-internet, so if it gets banned, you ain't getting it kind of thing.
Yeah,
It's got to be black
It
market.
gained notoriety then, obviously. That
Exactly.
And then it was
Cool.
87 for the second
I
one.
think it flopped, didn't it, originally? But then who was it who endorsed it? It was
Stephen King
Stephen
like,
King,
gave it
wasn't
a glowing review, I think.
Yeah. So they battered that. It was like a proper bat.
Yeah, I think Sam Raimi had said they like kind of plastered that on everything then to be like, this is what Stephen King said, and he knows more than you.
Exactly. I think Evil Dead 2 was basically a remake of the same thing, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's kind of
Which is weird.
embracing the kind of more comedy aspect. It's very like Three Stooges. You can see that they love comedy like that and a lot of performance-based humour. Bruce Campbell, obviously, as well.
Who plays the lead character, Ash.
Was awesome in that for doing his own like things and like flipping himself. And they were just mates. That's the best thing about it. They were mates who made a film, and it became Evil Dead, and then they were still mates like years later. And then obviously Sam Raimi went on to do loads of stuff. The car that Ash has, the classic Oldsmobile 88 Delta, was Sam Raimi's real car, because obviously it was easier and cheaper. And that car
It's
then...
budget shit back then, wasn't it?
Yeah. That car then has now gone on. He has 4 of the same ones. It was in the first Spider-Man film. It was Uncle Ben's car. Same car from Evil Dead. It was Sam Raimi's real car. And it's been in some other stuff as well, just showing up. But then they've done Ash versus Evil Dead 30 years later. Same car again. So like I watched this thing with Bruce Campbell being
He's
like...
still driving it
That's
around.
like I've jumped back
They
in
kept
time
it.
kind of thing.
It's not like a replica. It is the same
cool.
car.
We've got
Which
like
is-
4 other replicas, but he has got the
Yeah.
the
Which
number
is just
one, like the
impressive,
original,
isn't it?
yeah, his thing. I think that's really cool. I think they just sound like it could have easily been us. Like, oh, we've got this idea, we're going to make something. They did very well. I don't think this is going to get to the
But
heights.
this
of Evil
character
Dead.
Ash, like, he sort of ends up having to quite early on. Well, I say early on in the franchise, in the first film, he has to chop his own hand because it gets possessed. His hand gets possessed, so he chops his hand off. He ends up sticking like a chainsaw to it. So he's got like a chainsaw arm. Do you know what I mean? And in his other hand, he carries like a sawn-off shotgun, which he calls his boomstick, which Ryan's quite fond of. And this guy's just sort of like the worst guy for the job kind of thing.
What's his objective? What's he doing?
Well, it's like it's like evil spirits from hell and demons and shit are coming to Earth. He's basically got this book, which is what, the Necronomicon or something like that. And he accidentally read it when he went to this cabin and found it, and that released all hell and shit. And fundamentally, he's a proper knobhead as well. Like, but he's but he's funny as
Like, oh, I gotta save the world. Let me just stop f***ing this girl.
But I think the funny part of Ash versus Evil Dead is it's filmed, like, you know what I mean, it's quite recently done, so it's 30 years later, so the guy's an old dude now, put on a bit of weight and that, and he's playing the same role, and he does it so well. Yeah, and it's cool as
He said it was like the chance to kind of go back and fix Ash if you want. He said like initially the first chance he had was a bit more serious. It was the second film that he chopped his...
Well, we forget about the third film, which was...
Army of Darkness. That was the most kind of ludicrous for comedy.
Just briefly explain to Jack and John Army of Darkness.
I actually know what you were talking about.
Let's explain to Jack. All right, Jack and Ben need to know what Army of Darkness is.
So
just
the
briefly.
end of Evil Dead 2, he gets sucked into this portal. But he goes through this portal along with his car and like various bits of stuff like that's just physically there.
As you do.
And they go back into like Knights and Castle time.
Yeah.
And he lands and he's
time
there
travel.
with his rip shirt and his boomstick, and then this huge like claymation kind of like flying things all like... That's pretty good. And then it's coming for someone, obviously, boom, it blows up, its head blows up, and there's Ash with his boomstick, and it's like, oh, so in this one he gets thrown back in time, and they're a bit like, there's deadites there, that's what the things are that attack. That's the best nuance about the show, I think, is 30 years later, they having everything they have now, and all the advancements they've made in special makeup and effects and stuff like that, they haven't cheapened what the deadites look like at all. They've kind of done them exactly as they've always been, with the kind of weird where their head moves and they make this kind of like weird noise.
And try not to use CGI as well,
They
don't
don't, yeah. But they do for bits, but they also put it's a wind machine. It's just a fan, so the hair's moving. But without that, they wouldn't be deadites for me. It'd be like, so they've
Always
just
use
made it look
practical effects when you can, man.
Yeah, it looks way better.